well, to a breathable and mostly finished station. Yeah, I did off camera, off screen, a whole bunch of work to get this place sort of finalized and detailed and filled out. So let's go on a quick tour of it. We'll start out, I guess, in here. Obviously, I have lighting. I have these spotlights shining down to give some dramatic shadowed lighting down in the sort of lower industrial area. Got all kinds of catwalks. I consequently don't fully remember what is and is not new, so, yeah, just bear with me. Going down here, there's not too much, honestly, going on down here. Still got the jump drive, which I don't think I will have a jump drive in here. Because in theory, I can just use a jump-capable ship to tow the whole station anywhere I need it to go. I plan on some of these areas, and probably a lot of these areas in the walls, putting in sort of computational blocks, event controllers and the like. Because we need those for the sort of various systems in here. I did do some slight rearranging of modules on the refinery, so it's pretty slow. It's a little quicker now, but it's still pretty slow. And I have, if we look, a whole bunch of ore left to process. What I may actually do, I replaced one of the power modules with a speed module. And I had both of them replaced with speed modules, but then when the refinery was running, I was overpowering my solar panels, which we can see because I put up this script panel thingy. And look at the actual programmable block. What script is this? Does it tell me anywhere convenient? Just look in here. Power display and management, which is by someone. Why is it? It's giving like no information. I'm used to getting some information about, like, written by someone down here. Anyway, that's the script that is doing this. And it's basically just giving me sort of outputs on the various power stuff I have, so we can see the engine, which is off. The biggest thing for me is seeing what this sort of battery state is. So my battery is gaining power. That means it is charging. That means that I'm running solely off of solar panels. So moving on from here, I redid this a little bit. Just kind of, you know, I thought if I have this whole window tube, it's kind of a shame not to have any windows in this area. So I've got some windows. We can see out our tube. Have our door just in case, you know, this tube happens to be depressurized, considering it is thin sheet glass touching outer space. Yeah, not too much changed here. Over here I have just some little couches, a little sitting area at this window. Seem nice and dramatic. I obviously have windows. I can't remember. I don't think the windows existed in the last video. I can't recall. But we have them now. We obviously have lights up, which sort of work. These things are... It's always a little awkward having squares in sort of round places. But, you know, we're working with what we got. And I like these panels. They feel very like, you know, like any sort of public building. You'd have big fluorescent tube lights behind panels. So, yeah, seems fitting. Anyway, in here, there's all kinds of stuff. I'm going to start with the med bay. You can see we've got some sort of lab equipment, a little scanner. I have some cryopods, which may have been added after, I can't remember. Yeah, med bay, of course, window. Got our nice sort of viewing window so passersby can gawk at you while you get examined on the medical table. So we have the sort of little canteen area. Got some nice tables, got a soda machine, got a jukebox to play some, pleasant tunes. Sort of counter where you can come up, sit and eat a meal, or come up and order something. Basic little kitchen. So I did run into the issue in here because of how I've done with the half walls. Oh, and obviously I have a little, this is an exterior counter area for people just walking by if they want to order something to go. But yeah, because of the sort of placement of blocks and walls and stuff, I struggled to get some of the fancier kitchen stuff in. So I've got a basic little kitchen here and then a big counter area for serving. I'd like to do more detail in there, but this is, I think, the best I can make happen. So coming out here, this is sort of the main, main area. I've sort of envisioned this place, even though obviously I'm not going to be using it for this purpose. I've envisioned it as sort of a, an airport-like space station. So you'd come in, maybe wait for your next ship to show up. So we've got all these seating areas, this sort of more intimate talking area under the big TV screen full of advertisements. Got nice windows, got an ATM, bunch of just row seating for people to sleep on while they wait for a spaceship that's been delayed. This sort of main counter area here. So if you came out of this tube, you'd sort of come up here, you could talk to someone about getting your ticket changed or whatnot. Off the airlock here, do have a bathroom. One for the entire place, which is, legally sound, I suppose. Then over here we have the bedrooms. They are pretty much identical. In fact, I think they are identical. So I'll just look at one, but you can see got a nice big window, a little couch area to relax. Got 2 beds just sitting there, and then an ensuite. So there are more than one bathroom. It's just some of them you have to pay for. Then another little sort of corner sitting area, sort of separate zone. I could, if I decide I want like a little operations area, I may change this to be that. Could see this doing, being a separate little room. Then we have our sort of printing zone, just through an airlock. You can see the airlocks work pretty quick. Now here, so I made a discovery. You may notice if you look at the bottom of my HUD, this room is not airtight, even though everything is closed up. Well, from the outside, we can see why that room's not airtight. So even though those things are, sealing the floor, the welders aren't airtight blocks. And because the pipes aren't airtight and the sides of the welders aren't airtight, that sort of gap causes problems. I could fix this by changing these pipes to be, more like a solid. But frankly, I like how this looks. And, I have the door here. It could make sense to have an airtight space behind there for, ship repair. But in reality, this is space engineers and you're always wearing a space suit. So having it be a 0G environment, or not 0G, a 0 atmosphere environment, I think works out just fine. And while I'm out here, give the big sweeping image. Ooh, look at it. Got all kinds of stuff out here to talk about. So firstly, if we kind of go up, one of you lovely viewers suggested the name of this place be Fibonacci. I don't think I'm going to go with that, just because it seems very personable. But I did like the idea of sort of a spiral, because it does almost have a spiral feel to it. So I found a way to sort of create a spirally shape with paint. It's not great. It's a little awkward looking, but you can imagine that being a spiral down into the center. And I duplicated it on the underside, which is hard to see because it's dark. But yeah, so we've got a sort of spirally vibe going. Down here, this is a part I'm real proud of. So I wanted a sort of lower docking ring for ships. Mainly so that I could move all of my small grid ships that, aren't really set up for an airlock down somewhere convenient. So I lowered this thing down. I was like, well, how do I want to connect it? I could just have it be a tube thing. Then I thought it would be cool to have sort of a scaffold structure around a pipe. So that's what we have. We've also got an antenna down here. So the base has an antenna on it. See, all the ships are comfortably attached to this little thing. We come up top to our sort of conning deck, which we'll go and check out in a minute. And see, not too much going on up here, different than before, but we do have a beacon up top. Really, the only reason I have this versus the antenna is with a beacon, they just automatically become a jump point for jump drives. So I thought it would be kind of nice, It makes sense. It looks the part for the top of the station. I couldn't just stuck another antenna up here, but I figured it would be fun to have, and there's maybe a bit of purpose if I move this and then forget to make a GPS of where it is. And last but not least, we have the sort of command deck conning tower thing, which does have a few dark corners. This is just to preserve your vision when you're looking out into the dark void of space. Yeah, a lot of consoles, a lot of things. Most of this is, not going to be useful. But we do have our sort of main control, so we can observe things like... That's weird. Why is there... Oh, I think I may know what happened. Actually, this answers a lot. I don't think this catwalk is actually connected to anything. So when I was redoing this, I obviously had to remove the existing door. I was trying to put different windows in here. I wanted, oh yeah, that pretty much proves that that's a separate grid. I wanted like this style with the, top and bottom bit windows, but they wouldn't place, and I couldn't figure out why. And I thought this may have been disconnected, but then I tried to move it around, and obviously nothing happened. I can't move it because it's a large grid, but it is definitely not attached anymore. Let's fix that. Oh, nuts. I can't actually, that door doesn't have a connection point on it. Okay, there we go. So now we are connected catwalk again. Replace those with the windows I wanted, which I think just kind of have a cooler vibe, and I like that the offset, yeah, I like them. Can peek through. Good. Now today I have a few tasks that I want to accomplish. First one being I want to build some event controllers in here so I can set up all the airlocks. Which first means I think I need to go naming. So, for each of my airlocks, I have a designation, and then I have an outer door, and an inner door. So this is airlock C, B is over there, and then the one over there is A. Oh, I also need one for here. We don't need a number for that. So down here, I need to make... Ew. Well, that works. Need to make some room so that I can have my 8 event controllers to control all of these. Alright, these are all set up now, hopefully. So, the gist of how this works, I have 2 event controllers per airlock. Each one is watching one of those doors. So, airlock A outer watches my outer airlock door. Outer has just lost all meaning as a word to me. Oh, that looks wrong, but maybe it's just the font. Anyway, it's watching the state of the outer door. If the outer door is open, it turns off the inner door, and then once the outer door is closed, it turns the inner door back on. This setup is basically designed so that you can't have both doors open at once. You can, because unfortunately the state it detects when the door is fully opened, so if the door is opening, you can still do both. But I find it's a good sort of middle ground to help keep airlocks from being, a problem. It's just an extra step to help remind you not to open the other door, assuming you already know not to open the other door. So let's just go check. So the garage area, when that's open, you can see those turn red. I start that closing. Now they're green, I can open this one. Okay. So that is an airlock set up. I'm going to assume that the other ones work and discover as I go. Now, the next thing I kind of want to do is maybe add just a few more solar panels. Because one, I can do a little bit of detailing to make the solar panels look better. Make it look more complete. Yeah, I think I'll add another row of plant tubes as well. But if I have a bit more solar, hopefully I'll be able to run the refinery with 2 speed modules, which will help it go faster, obviously, and process the ores quicker. It's one thing I'm discovering. The last sort of long series I did was, of course, on a server. And on a server, it's much easier to get resources processed because they just process while you're gone. Alright, that looks like some solar power. So we've got 3 more tubes and what is equivalently, I assume equivalently, another row of panels. It's not, maybe not the most efficient having all the tubes, but it should mean I never need ice for air, hopefully. And also, hopefully enough power. Eventually I'll, find nuclear power and this won't be an issue anyway. But for now it should do the job. Yeah, looks like everything is gaining. I don't remember what these numbers were, so I'm gonna assume that they went up and that everything's good. So we're currently refining. Let's see
Inventory full.
if I get rid of this bad boy, replace it with a speed module. Do I have enough power that this just works? We're now marginally faster. And still losing power. Dang. Well, do I care? The battery can run for 8 hours with the amount of charge it has. Hopefully, once I get through a lot of this material, I won't have to worry so much. So I do have, I have nearly 200,000 kilograms of iron. Gold isn't great. I've got a ton of silicon, plenty of cobalt, a good bit of silver. Silicon in insane numbers. Nickel's pretty solid. So yeah, hopefully once I get all this sort of backlog done. Oh, in fact, yeah, silicon I've got a ton and a ton more ready to process. How did I end up with so much silicon ore? I don't know. But yeah, hopefully my power issues are sorted once this thing runs out of ores to process, and I'll hopefully not be adding more ores at enough of a rate that it causes an issue. So my next plan involves those guys. It's time to go and see what they're all about. To do that, I need a jump-capable ship. I think how I'm going to do that, I'm going to go with sort of a, you know, a small little scout vessel. Fairly heavily armed. That way if I need to, I can fight, and hopefully, I mean, we're going to go poke the bear and see if the bear pokes back. Hopefully, I can design something that can just kind of survive, get in there, and at least, you know, at least take a look around, if not bring back some stuff. Okay, that's looking like a nice little engine block. So I think I'm going with hydrogen just because I don't have a ton of platinum at the moment. I could go mine some and wait for it all to process. But honestly, hydrogen is... you get more immediate acceleration, which will be good for a sprightly scout fighter thing. It's also my best source of sort of renewable energy on the go, because I can have engines running off the big tank. It is potentially an issue having a big old explosive hydrogen tank in here, but I mean, if I were worried about the thing exploding, I wouldn't take it into combat, so I assume there's going to be combat. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. I can build a little cockpit area up front here. Run a little bit more piping around. I think I may get this stuff welded though, just so that I have it ready to rock. Superconductors. So I need 380 gold. Do I... think I'll be just short. I'll get most of them. Most of them's better than none of them, I suppose. I may have to do a quick gold trip before I can get the jump drive running. But everything else seems to be coming along. Oh, that was something else I wanted to do. Is have a event controller that's just set up to close all the internal doors. Let me set that up real quick. Alright. So we have a timer block set up to close all the doors. Set on 4 seconds. So our event controller just has to trigger that timer block. Or start it even. Alright. If I can make it out of here. There we go. So now, if I open the door, go through, wait a few seconds, it closes. Unfortunately, this will reset that timer every time someone opens a door, and it means if you're going through multiple doors quickly, you may run into a thing where you open the door and then it instantly closes on you. But, you know, that's the price you pay for automation. Yeah, it looks like we are 43 superconductors short. Well, I'll get everything else on this thing going. It is... How quick is this moving? We are slowly drifting towards the planet at 0.17 meters per second. That's not great. Let's see if I can put the old welder in the way and stop it. Okay, that's helped a bit. I may have brought it stationary. Let's see if... Yep. There we go. Now it cannot move. It's a little cheaty, but... You know, when we're given the option of temporal anchors, it seems silly to waste it. Ah, dang it. Darn refinery keeps putting the finished stuff straight into the assembler and overfilling it. Yeah, we're taking through silicon now. I could dump some of this silicon. 54K is probably enough. In fact, I'm gonna real quick repurpose one of these. I don't think this will be a permanent change, though maybe it should be. If I stick a sorter on the end of this, and let's get this stuff out first. So we do a sorter there, followed by our connector. Actually, on a 90-degree bend, so it points towards the planet. Then that. So I can now set the sorter. I want it to only allow gravel. And silicon ore. Set that to drain all. This connector is now filling up. If I set it to throw out, start shooting all of that ore down to the planet. May not make it, but yeah, seems like a good idea. It may seem silly to be wasting all of this ore, but I really don't think I'm gonna need that much silicon, as I have 54K already, and at this point you need a tiny bit for like computers and stuff, and then the rest of it, you know, you use it for glass, and I don't think I'll be building that much glass. Worst case, I can always go and find more. Is this stopped? Why have you stopped? Interesting. Okay, my plan hasn't seemed to have worked. I think it's hit an amount where it can't put more out, so it's just stopped. Let me real quick. Another janky solution. So this is the main station gravity. Its height is at 23 meters. If I real quick set it to there. Oh, come on. Why aren't you falling? There we go. Okay. That'll send it with a little more chutzpah down to the planet. It's actually... Nah, that'll definitely hit. For a second, I thought it might just skim the atmosphere and maybe go into orbit. I think it'll skim the surface. But yeah, that does mess up my tunnel up to the upper observation deck, but actually, there we go. Silicon ore removed. I'll leave that in the refinery just because I don't care enough. And everything's back to how it was. I can change this stuff out. And bam! Silicon problem solved. Oh boy, oh yes! Ha ha ha! So I am a fair ways out. I was going to grab that gold I need. And I happened to be scanning. And I saw, so the very far left tick, that pretty much only means uranium. Here it is. And the best part, so this little one has it. If I look at that big one, it's got it. Is that one? Looks like that one may have some. That one's got some. This is a whole cluster of uranium. So, yeah, that's good to have. I'm going to gather me a bit. I do need that gold. And it looks like there's nickel here as well, which isn't that useful. But, I mean, this basically, at this point, I'm in the end game in terms of materials. Which I guess is exactly where I want to be when I'm going after the Factorum. This will give me power. This gives me better weapons. Mainly it's going to be good for power because this jump drive is going to need some. And this is very good find. Alright. And that's not the most beautiful looking thing. But we've got ourselves a ship. Let's go outside, because outside's really where the sun's not in a great spot. Look at that ship. It's a doofy little thing, I'll admit. But the baby beluga is now ready for flight. So it of course has all the sort of engine stuff I showed before. Plenty of thrusters, tanks, engines, batteries, all that. There's a gyro up there and some event controllers. For armament, I have 2 Gatling turrets and then a assault cannon turret for heavy hitting. The connectors here are on pistons because I realized where they're positioned, the turret's going to cause issues trying to connect up to the station. So when I need to connect, I can just extend these pistons out. They probably don't have to go in their full length, but I just extend them out a bit and they can connect up all nice and comfortably. Inside, we of course have our airlock, which if I close up, you can see depressurizing. I need to put a grate here. But yep, nice airlock so that we have nice pressurized cabin. Cabin itself, pretty sparse, pretty Spartan. You have some consoles, we have the cockpit here. Have a little bed just to, take any naps on long journeys. Survival kit so that we can get healing and, restock all of our vital fluids. Cargo access just because that's handy. We've got gravity, which is doing pretty much the bare minimum for just in here. If we look, yeah, the jump drive, let's go ahead and stop that recharging. Lovely that it's there and ready to go, but we don't really have enough power output to make that happen yet, because I need to hook up things like hydrogen. Well, not really hook up, I need to put hydrogen in, or ice would work. But yeah, we are pretty much ready to go. So next week, we're gonna, well, fuel this thing. I'll probably do some ice gathering off camera just to make sure we have enough fuel. But we'll get ourselves fueled up, get ourselves charged up, and then it's jump time. We will head off, find ourselves one of these Factorum, factory base, whatever you call them. And then we're going to take all their stuff and become rich. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. Feel free to check out any of the other stuff I've done. Hit that subscribe button, dingle the bells, membership. And until next week, bye bye.